So the Ashes is set to take place at the end of this year, and of course it's one of those test cricket series that even neutral fans really get a lot of enjoyment in. Arguably one of the greatest and oldest rivalries in the history of the great sport that is, of course, test cricket. And well, the build up to it, well, you can say is finally getting there, because again, there's still a few months left for it to start, but England have now named their squad for the upcoming Ashes, and it is a pretty, let's say, interesting squad. You can also talk about it being a squad along expected lines with a couple of noteworthy, let's say, inclusions in the squad at the last moment. So what exactly is the squad? Let's go over it first, then we'll talk a little bit about the benefits of it. Now, well, you've got Ben Stokes as captain, obviously. You've got Joe Root or Harry Brook as vice captain. Again, nothing to be said about that. Matthew Potts is the one surprise recall, really. Other than that, you've got Jofra Archer, Bryden Carse, there's Joe Root, there's Gus Atkinson, Zach Crawley, there's Jamie Smith, Shoaib Bashir, Ben Duckett, Josh Tongue, Jacob Bethel, Will Jacks, Mark Wood, and of course, Ollie Pope. So that is pretty much, as I said, long expected lines for the most part, this squad. One surprise, of course, being Matthew Potts, because again, we would have expected that they go with someone, some other pacer, because again, if you're looking at their pace bowling options, yes, they've got Atkinson, Mark Wood is also there, but they needed another option, someone who could get the ball to move a bit. So you've got Potts, you've got Josh Tongue, who can do that as well. You've got in Atkinson and Wood bowlers who can hit the deck, and of course, in Bryden Carse, you've got someone who gives you all-round bowling, along with, of course, the skipper Ben Stokes. One player who's noteworthy by his absence is, of course, Chris Woakes, who had a fairly good series, you can say, with the new ball against India. But we all know that Woakes is very much one of those bowlers who's very effective in home conditions, but in away conditions can often be found wanting. His average with the ball in away conditions is somewhere in the 50s. So that's not a good look, and therefore really no surprise that Woakes, the veteran, is pretty much done and dusted and not a part of this squad. Someone like a Carse will give you a similar option, and of course you have Stokes there as well. So as the bowling goes, again, as I said, no real surprises. Same with the batting. It's been a pretty settled unit. Of course, the fact that a Will Jacks gets the call up, noteworthy, because he will give you an additional spin option if it really comes down to it. Only one pure spinner really in the squad in Shoaib Bashir. Otherwise, you've got Jacks. Don't forget, Joe Root also gives you a little bit of extra spin. Now, of course, it is, let's say, a bit surprising that they've gone with a Bashir. Of course, the Bazball era has seen the rise of Bashir, but Bashir oftentimes has struggled really in more tricky conditions. When I say tricky, I mean conditions which might not always be conducive to spin bowling. So they have shown faith in him. Of course, there was a Liam Dawson who had done well in the series against India too, and of course someone who's done domestically well also. So he's done well in domestic cricket. So it is a bit of a surprise that they've gone with Bashir, but also in other ways not that much of a surprise. So the only major surprise really, or the only one inclusion that perhaps no one would have predicted confidently, is that of Matthew Potts. Other than that, a well-settled side. Can they potentially do what other teams in the recent past have struggled to do, and get the Ashes back from down under? That to me seems a little bit debatable, because we know this Australian side has quality bowlers and batters who are very much adept at making runs in Australian conditions. Obviously, the Aussies would be starting favourites, but this is perhaps as strong a squad as England could have realistically put out. Now, what do you guys think of the squad? Do you think there were other players you would have preferred in the squad in place of someone else? Well, let us know that in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel as well, and tap the bell so you know when it is we're going live or uploading a new video for you guys. Also follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, X, and Facebook, and don't forget to stay tuned for more such updates from the world of sport.